Hello and welcome back. This is Christopher Aaron. This is the iGold Advisor channel. We are going to have another silver breakout update. The price action has been incredibly good here over the last several days. Let's update the charts. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell icon if you would like to give it a thumbs up. I appreciate that. And make sure to follow us on Twitter or X, where I sometimes post during the middle of the week for free. The last thing I want to let you know about in this update, I am giving away for free one of the silver mining picks that we are investing in here that in all of the last cycles has leveraged the price of silver. So every once in a while I do this. I just give away the research for free for people that want to participate in this. The name of the company is Southern Silver Exploration. You can see the tickers right here, SSV in Canada and SSVFF in the United States. The important things to know about Southern Silver Exploration are that this company owns a 302 million ounce silver resource already in the ground. And just to dispel any myths up front, no, they are not paying me a single cent to publish this. That is not my business model. I do not take any kickbacks from these companies whatsoever. My business model is to publish the research that we are using here to make these investments. And if people find value in that, I hope that you'll join us, either in making these investments as well or joining our service. But I do not take any kickbacks whatsoever, and once in a while I give this information away for free. So this company we'll talk about in the second half of the video, and I just want to let you know that we will be doing a private placement for this company. I know we have some investors who are interested in the private placements, which get you the very same shares of Southern Silver but discounted, and then you also receive free warrants which get you even greater profit potential if the company succeeds. The deadline for the private placement is this Wednesday, July 10th. I'll explain more about that as we get into the second part of the video. Okay, so let's start by looking at silver itself, our legal disclaimer for one moment. Now, when we were last talking, we were looking at this chart. Remember, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look at the video from last week. This is critical to observe how silver has behaved here just over the last 4 or 5 days. And we were talking about the $30 level being this key resistance level. And then we were talking about the fact that this downward trend from the recent peak here at 32.50 was going to be matching precisely. You see that, how the blue downward trend matched precisely with the black 30 right over here. And so I was saying, if you go back to the last video, you can confirm this. I was saying that we need to see silver have a break of this combined resistance level, the 30 downward trend and then the 30 horizontal. And it needs to be on one of these impulsive types of candles. Candle just means a single day of price action. So that we need to see a single day of price action that leaves no doubt in the market in order to break this resistance. And boom, look at what we got. Just the day after I posted that video, we had this impulsive candlestick right there. You can see it. A one-day pause on the 4th of July, and then boom, follow through on Friday of last week. That's nearly a $2 surge in 3 days. This is exactly what we wanted to see from the standpoint of getting ready to see this breakout really pick up steam in silver. So I do not think you have a whole lot of time left to get involved in the silver market, to be finalizing your positions. I think this is going to move a lot quicker than most people think. Let's zoom it out here. We were just looking at this little sliver here. We're talking about the break above the key $30 resistance level. And my take on silver now is that there is not a heck of a lot more resistance until we get all the way back up here into the region around the all-time highs from 2011, which also matches the all-time high from 1980. I think silver is gearing up for one of these moves, and for the people who think this is impossible, because they're accustomed to looking at the last 4 years where silver was just in a grind, for people that think it's impossible for silver to move, let's say from 30 up close to 50 in a few months, look at what happened in 2010, 2011. I know some of you participated in that cycle, but some of you didn't. Some of you are new to this market, and to be frank with you, if you don't study the history, you will not be prepared for these kinds of moves when they happen. Everything that I'm seeing right now is telling me that we are on the precipice of another move like what happened in 2010. I lived through that move in 2010. I was investing in the cycle. I took extensive notes on what was happening. Every signal that we look at right now is telling me that silver is gearing up for another one of those moves. So, as I said a moment ago, I do not think you have too much more time to finalize your silver and your silver-related portfolio. On that note, maybe you want to join us in investing in Southern Silver. As I said, I own shares in Southern Silver. They are not paying me any fees or any kickbacks to say this. I simply share the research that I am producing here for people that find value in it, and every once in a while I give a little bit away for free. Let's just look at the quick company update here, the summary for Southern Silver in case you want to join us in investing. The flagship deposit here is 100% owned by Southern Silver. It's called Saraos Manas in Durango, Mexico. This is one of the largest undeveloped silver deposits in all of the Americas. 302 million ounces of silver equivalent resources. Of course, all these silver deposits have a mix of silver, gold, copper, lead, zinc, but when you take all the metals and you boil them down into silver equivalent, it comes to 302 million ounces. And so when we look at the grades of the deposit here, we're talking about 271 grams per ton silver equivalent in the indicated part of the deposit and 248 grams per ton in the inferred part of the deposit. And these categories here, these grades are quite high grades. You have some mines in around the world, some silver mines that they'll mine silver at 100 grams per ton. So this is nearly 3 times the grade that some companies would consider acceptable. This is a very good grade. And then we talk about what is the difference between the inferred category and the indicated category. Inferred does not mean imaginary. Inferred is an official category of resources, just like indicated. It just means that the drill spacing that they've already done to show that they have this silver in the ground, the drill spacing is not as tight as it is for the indicated category. So when they do more drilling in the future, they'll move some of this silver up into the indicated category. But the official resource statement is a total of 302 million ounces of silver equivalent in the ground already. Importantly, this project is still open. They're going to be doing more drilling to the side, laterally, and at depth. So this thing is going to be growing over the next several years. I would not be surprised to see this resource up at 400 million ounces when we're looking forward a few years. This is really important as well. Mexico has had some trouble with their laws as far as open pit mining. The new government is putting some restrictions on open pit mining. This project, owned by Southern Silver, will not be impacted by those restrictions because this is not an open pit mine. This is going to be an underground mine, completely different category of silver mine. We can see the valuations here. Let's look at some of the other facts about this mine. It's going to be a 17-year mine life, producing an annual average of 11.4 million ounces of silver equivalent. This is no small scale operation. This is going to be a nice mid-tier operation when it gets up and running. Let's look at the economics here. And so you can see how sensitive the net present value discounted to 5% is, and the internal rate of return when you're talking about different silver prices. So notice here, for example, that at $23 per ounce silver. The net present value is just over 500 million with an internal rate of return of 21.2%. But you start bumping it up here to 27. I mean, we're already above 27. Look at this. Look at how when you add just $4.60 to the silver price, you get nearly a 75% increase in the net present value. And then look at today's silver prices above 30. The net present value of this thing is above $1 billion. So can you imagine if silver is trading at 35, 40, $50 per ounce? What if it breaks through $50 per ounce? The net present value of this flagship deposit, which once again is 100% owned by Southern Silver, this thing is going to exceed several $billion. Wait till you see what the market value of this company is right now. It's closer to 50 million. So think about the multiplication effect that could happen there. Last but not least, they have two other early stage projects. This Oro project, which is a copper gold project, and then Hermanas, which is a gold silver project, which are both located in the United States in the state of New Mexico. And Hermanas is scheduled for the first ever drilling coming up in 2024. So this could be exciting. They could start to show a second resource beyond the 302 million ounces of the flagship Saraos Manas. Here we can see Saraos Manas on the map right there in Durango, Mexico. There are the two early stage deposits in the U.S. Let's take a look at the actual deposit here. Here's Saraos Manas. You can see it's made up of multiple zones, at least 4 different zones to the resource. This is why it's still open for expansion. And this is important. You know, sometimes people don't think about how important this is. But look, here's a major highway in Mexico. So look how close, look how accessible this deposit is going to be. When you're talking about infrastructure, you're talking about bringing mining engineers in, you're talking about all the studies that they'll be doing on this deposit. Very easy to access it. So this is important. Let's take a look at the diagram. Here's the, you can see it once again, the four plus different zones here, depending on how we want to define some of these zones that really overlap. But the important point here is that this is an underground mine, and you can already see how some of the silver extends all the way down to this level here. But they haven't drilled any of this side at depth. So there's still much more that can be discovered. As I said, I think when we're looking forward a few years, this deposit could get to 400 million ounces of silver equivalent. Let's look at a few more of the statistics here. If you want to join us in investing in Southern Silver, we talked about this. We talked about the resource size. You add these together, you're getting over 300 million ounces. The insider and institutional ownership of this company is quite healthy, 39% ownership. When you look at management, institutions, and insiders, that's quite healthy. Last but not least, the all-in sustaining cost. This is the cost when you consider everything, soup to nuts, getting the mine built, doing the extraction, doing the processing, shipping. The all-in sustaining cost is pretty healthy here, $13.23. You consider silver is above $30. That would be quite a significant profit that they are making on each ounce that they produce, and even more so if silver starts accelerating toward $40 or $50 or above. Okay, so this is Southern Silver. As I said, here are the tickers, SSV in Canada and SSVFF in the United States. This is a company that I own shares in. And now what I want to do, if you are with me so far and you think, okay, Christopher is probably right about silver breaking out now. It's probably going to continue over the next several months at the very least to move higher. And then if you're with me on buying shares in Southern Silver, you could buy those shares in the open market. I own shares in the open market. However, I want to show you what the benefit would be if you decide to invest with us in a private placement in Southern Silver, which I currently have an allocation for because I have a good relationship with the company. we've helped them to raise money in these private placements in the past. Again, they don't pay me to do this. I take a chunk of each of these placements personally. And the reason why I do this is look at what happens here if you buy shares in the private placement. Okay? The company is trading, if you buy shares in the open market today, the company is trading at 25 cents Canadian. This is the official price. 25 cents. However, we have negotiated to buy shares directly from Southern Silver at a discounted price, 22 cents right here. Do you see this? So, yes, I think, is it worth buying shares in the open market? Yes. However, if you can afford the minimum for a private placement, I want to show you how this will impact that you'll get additional profit by investing with us in the private placement. So the difference between 22 and 25 cents, where the stock is currently trading, is 13.6%. This means from the moment that you make the investment, if you go with the private placement with us, you are already sitting on a 13.6% profit immediately off the bat. How else can you do that in the markets? If you put your money in a savings account, you're lucky to make 5% in an entire year. Stocks can go up or down, but with this investment off the bat, we have a 13.6% profit from the starting gate. This is really significant when you look at the math. The other major thing that you get in the private placement if you join us that you do not receive if you buy these shares in the open market are these warrants. And in this case, we've negotiated that for every share that you buy in the private placement, you will receive a half warrant, which is exercisable at 30 cents Canadian, and that is valid for 3 years from the closing date of this placement. Now, the stock is already trading at 25. It is extremely conceivable to think that this stock will be trading from 25 to above 30 within the next 3 years. And so in the next slide, I'm going to show you how the profit changes if you invest with us in the private placement compared to investing in the open market. Last thing I want to make sure you're aware of here is that the minimum to invest in the private placement is $10,010 Canadian, which is roughly equivalent to 7,000 US dollars or about 6,500 euros. So you know the saying, you have to have money to make money, right? If you already have money, it's even easier to make more money. This is a case in point. If you don't have the minimum 10,000 Canadian or about 7,000 US, you cannot do this. In that case, I would suggest buying shares in the open market if this meets your risk and reward profile and you want to try to achieve leverage on the silver price. Let's take a look at some realistic potentials for Southern Silver for this Saraos Manas deposit. And what I simply want to do is compare two scenarios here. One scenario is going to be buying in the open market. As I told you, I own shares in the open market. Right now, they're trading at 25 cents per share. Remember, you do not receive warrants if you buy in the open market. And then I want to show you what happens if you buy with us in the private placement, where you get to buy at the discount 22 cents, and then you receive the free half 3-year warrants, which is exercisable at 30 cents. So what I'm going to do, this is the exact same chart, top and bottom. This is Southern Silver. And I want to look at realistic potentials here. I want to look at the fact that if we just go back to 2016 or 2020, Southern Silver peaked at 70 cents per share on the Canadian market. Remember, right now it's trading at 25 cents. And so if you were to buy Southern Silver in the open market, and it just gets back to a very reasonable former peak level here at 70 cents. I mean, this is extremely realistic. Look at the previous times, 2016. Look at how it just shot up when silver finally started to move. Look at 2020 when it just shot up, right? So it looks like the next move here is underway for Southern Silver. To get back to this target zone that would represent a 180% gain if you were to buy in the open market at 25 cents. Not bad, right? I don't think many people would be complaining about 180% gain in Southern Silver as a realistic potential. However, if you can do that minimum with us, and you're talking the private placement, look at this. If Southern Silver gets back to the exact same share price that we're talking about here in the open market, but because you're buying at a discount and because you receive the free 3-year warrants at 30 cents, you achieve a 285% gain on your investment for the exact same move in the stock. You're not needing the stock to go any higher. We're talking about the stock going to the exact same level. It's the fact that you're buying the shares at a 13.6% discount and the fact that you receive these warrants for free that you get to exercise as soon as the stock goes above 30 cents. So the net sum is that you receive more than 100% additional profit by investing with us in the private placement compared to buying the shares in the open market. Really something to think about. I want to let you guys know one other thing. In the service that we have, which is called Elite Private Placements, I think this is going to be the last silver private placement that we do in the current cycle. This may be the last silver private placement that we have for the next several years. So, once these things start to take off, once Southern Silver is already up here at 45, 55, or 65 cents, I do not think it's a good time to be investing in these companies. We will not be doing private placements in silver mining companies when the sector really takes off. This is a limited time. I want to share with you, if you want to join us in the private placement, the important deadline to be aware of this Wednesday, July 10th. I cannot make any exceptions. If you want to join us in this private placement, you must register for our program called Elite Private Placements. I have an exclusive allocation of Southern Silver that I am distributing to our members in Elite Private Placements. As I said again, because I have a good relationship with this company, we've helped them in the past. And this placement is going to be extremely tight. This is available on a first come, first serve basis. If you are late to register, I am sorry, but I cannot guarantee you an allocation. So whoever registers first and sends their confirmation to us will receive the allocation in this placement. Deadline to register is this Wednesday, July 10th. Then by Friday, you will return your subscription forms to us, and the wire transfer deadline to send the amount to Southern Silver for the shares and the warrants, that deadline is next Wednesday, July 17th. We cannot make any exceptions to these deadlines. So remember the difference between buying in the open market and the additional profit that you'll receive if you buy with us in the private placement. If you're not ready for the private placement, this is a company that, as I said, I own shares in the open market. I think it's going to do extremely well. But if you do want to join us in the private placement, please remember the deadline to register is Wednesday, July 10th. That's what gets you the highest leverage possible. Remember, when you join us in Elite Private Placements, you will also receive a free subscription to our flagship Precious Metals Intelligence Plus. That way you will not miss out on any of the premium weekly videos that we publish, any of the coverage of physical gold, physical silver, the mining sector, and the open market buy and sell signals that we are releasing here with flash updates right to your inbox. If you would like to reach me by consultation, you can book that on the website as well. Here is our contact information. If you have any questions about the Southern Silver private placement, feel free to give us a call or send us an email. But please do keep in mind, this is available first come, first serve. I expect demand to be extremely high. And so the deadline is Wednesday, July 10th. Let's get ready for this move, this breakout in silver that is underway. And this may be the last silver private placement that we have available until silver is at much higher prices.